I call the Honourable Member Katrina Shanks.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. It's my pleasure to take a call on the Crimes Amendment Bill number 2 tonight. The safety and wellbeing of our children is an issue that National is absolutely committed to. And we believe that the proposals contained in the Crimes Amendment Bill number 2 close some of the worrying gaps in the law around the protection of children. I'm proud to be part of a National-led government which is fast-tracking proposals to further protect children from assault, neglect and ill-treatment. It's hard-hitting, but in the end, this legislation will help to change lives. The Crimes Amendment Bill makes changes to ensure that children are adequately protected. This bill introduces new enforceable legal responsibility, making a person criminally liable for the failure to protect a child or vulnerable person, where another person omitted to perform a legal duty and the accused was aware of the duty and the harm the omission would inflict on the child or vulnerable person. This legislation broadens the scope of Section 195. It extends the application of the offence to include vulnerable adults. It increases the age of a child to a person under the age of 18 years old, and it extends the liability for omissions to perform legal duties. A new offence of failure to protect has been introduced which will impose criminal liability on a member of a household or staff member of a hospital, institution or residence where the victim resides, who has frequent contact with a child or vulnerable adult, knows the victim is at risk of death, serious injury or sexual assault as a result of an unlawful act by another person or an omission by another person to perform a legal duty, fails to take reasonable steps to protect the victim from the risk. A person may be regarded as a member of a particular household, even if they do not live in that household. If the person is so closely connected with a particular household that it is reasonable to regard him or her as a member, then they will be considered liable. Also, the offender must be older than 18 years at the time of the act or omission in question to be prosecuted for failure to protect a child or vulnerable person. But you can only be prosecuted if you are under 18 if you are a parent of the victim. The Select Committee also considered whether provision should amount to an offence subject to the Stage 3 regime under Sections 86A to 86I of the Sentencing Act 2002. Other areas covered in this bill are the scope of the claim of right defence, which is available for some offences relating to property, when the accused believed they were legally entitled to deal with the property in the way they did. The amendment will limit the defence to circumstances where the defendants believe they have a personal right to the property concerned. It will also increase the penalty for carrying an offensive weapon in circumstances that prima facie show an intention to use it without reasonable excuse. The maximum penalty for possession of an offensive weapon will be increased from 2 years to 3 years imprisonment. The Act also broadens the offence of sexual grooming. Currently, the offence of sexual grooming of young people in the Crimes Act doesn't support prosecution in situations where the sexual grooming has been discovered through covert police investigations. This bill is an important part of National's work to tackle violent crime and make communities safer and to protect our most vulnerable. Mr Speaker, I look forward to further debates on the House on this bill. Thank you.
I call the